Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Control Ultimate Edition blind playthrough. And we are inside the astral plane. I'm playing the second DLC, the post-game DLC called The Foundation. And in the last episode, I started talking about video game prices, and more specifically Doomed Dark Ages. And I started talking about that so far into the episode, so I never managed to finish my train of thought. So I'm gonna try to do that in this episode instead. Just to bring you up to speed, you gotta admit that was a clean throw. But completing my train of thought, I looked that game up on different retailers. And for the most part, it cost around 850 Swedish crowns, which translates to, I think it's like 85 or 90 American dollars, or it's like 70 pounds or something. And I think that is very expensive. And just for shits and giggles, I looked it up on the PlayStation Store. And on PlayStation Store, it cost 900 Swedish crowns, which is like $5 or $6 more. And I prefer buying physical copies of games, much due to it's just a personal preference. I think in a way, it's a better way to have them digitally, because physical copies take up a lot of space, a lot of inventory space in your home. And if you're like me, that have accumulated quite a decent video game collection over the years. I am backtracking. Why the hell am I backtracking? It does become a bit cumbersome, and it becomes quite expensive. But I prefer physical copies. And that is just due to personal preference. And I think one of the arguments for continuing to buy physical copies is because I think PlayStation Store is stupid expensive. I think 900 Swedish crowns for a digital copy of a game is an overprice. I really do. And you could argue, and I wouldn't say that you're off, that it isn't an overprice due to how much games cost to make nowadays. And games are usually quite big, and there's a lot to do in them. I recognize that, and I think that is absolutely correct. When I was a kid, if you were skilled at a game, which I seldomly was, most games could be finished in under half an hour. I think my personal best for beating Super Mario Bros. 1 is somewhere in the 8 minutes. And that was something I managed to achieve when I was a child. And back when I was a kid, in the 80s and early 90s, YouTube didn't exist. I had never heard of speedrunning. It was just that I didn't have many games, and the games I had, I played a lot. Come on, fat boy. Can we lure you onto that one? Shit. I fucked up. I fucked up. Can I save this? No, I can't. Fuck. That did not go according to plan. It would be so satisfying to manage to lure him onto those. Why can't he? Wow. I'm gonna do this in the cowardice way, because my health is next to nil at this point, and he will tear me. But I lost my train of thought. I digress. And I die. I digressed, and the game punished me for it. Now, where was I? Yes. You do get a lot of bang for your buck with games these days. But what I find a bit worrisome with... Just let me get my bearings here. We're going over here. What I find a bit worrisome with the fact that physical copies of games are starting to reach the same price points as digital copies is the fact that PlayStation Store, when it comes to digital purchases, they don't have any competitors. Because on PC there is Steam and there are some competitors. I'm sorry, I haven't played PC in a lot of years. I'm console gamer through and through, which some people may know. But I know that there are options when you're buying PC games. With PlayStation, you don't have that option. So, me and a friend, we were talking about it, and he thought that we are coming to the end, or we are moving towards the end of physical copy era. And that might be true. But I think if we get there, we need to have a competitor to the PlayStation Store just to keep prices down. Because some people have argued that video games have been the same price like since the 80s or 90s. And that... Did I just manage to drop Fat Boy down into the hole? I think I did. Ah! My plan worked exactly as I wanted it to. At like the 4th attempt. But yes, game prices have basically stood still since I think it's the early 90s or something. They cost like 600 back then. They still costed up until a few years ago. They cost around 600 then as well. But taking into account inflation and stuff like that doesn't mean that games are underpriced now. It means more or less, I would say, that games were overpriced back then. Because games have become more expensive to make. And as I talked about, there is a lot more content. I think in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's probably more things you could do than the entire NES library put together. But also, I think, unpopular opinion perhaps, but I was not that impressed with Red Dead Redemption 2. I've talked about that in previous videos. I thought RDR1 was great fun. Where is the thingamajig that I'm supposed to put in the hole? Yes, I thought RDR1 was great fun. It had that Rockstar. It had both the edginess and also the wackiness that Rockstar games are famous for. There it is. But I thought RDR2, I thought it was sluggish. And I thought the story took itself way too seriously for me to enjoy it. Because I know I loved... I'm not gonna say every moment I spent in RDR1, because that is definitely not true. RDR1 did have its own problems. It was quite a big world, if I recall correctly. But it was also, if we're being honest, which I think you always should be, it was quite empty. I remember one time I was going from the city up in the northeast, I think. Can't remember what it was called. Someone let me know down in the comments. And I was going down to New Mexico, which I think was down at the bottom west part of the map. So top right corner down to the bottom left corner. And that involved a whole lot of horse riding and not much else. Because they didn't really fill up the world as much as maybe they should have. I'm not sure if they could have, because it is quite an old game at this point. I can't remember when it came out. I think it was like 2011 or something. Is that true? That is also something. Let me know in the comments, because I'll probably forget to Google it, and I actually want to know. And I was very late to the RDR party, actually. I played that game like a year after it came out, and I don't know why, because I remember I was not at all interested. Shit. I can save this. That is the problem. When you go on a rant mid-battle in this game, that is when the game pulls out all the stops and decides to fuck you over. So I'm just gonna focus for a few seconds here. And enemies in this game are great at attacking you from every angle at the same time. But luckily for me, Jesse is a one-woman army. So even the most stressful situations we can get out of. So, I guess we're going down there. And that looks like a boss arena. Another fat boy. Oh, he's heading for the spikes. Did I miss, or did he just face tank that without even flinching? Never mind. Ow. I think it's a bit odd that even this far into the game, Jesse can take such a lashing from the enemies. And I have to admit, I haven't looked into the perks in quite a long time. But I don't think there were many almost called durability perks, but you know what I mean, like increasing damage resistance or something. You just have to get used to taking a beating. But this game is also something I know, and which you probably know as well if you follow this project, is that combat in this game is very much about always staying on the move. You have to stay nimble, you have to move around, dodge. If you stand still, like I have a tendency to do sometimes, that will spell death. And it has. And to be fair, sometimes it can spell death even if you are moving around.
There's the etching.
Okay. I guess we're heading upwards. Right, you had to pull out... Wait, what? Smart. Okay, so you have to be careful about this. Maybe I should put away my rocket launcher then. Okay, I get it. What happens is those crystals grow back and break this sphere, so you're gonna have to be quick about it. I guess. I'm just gonna wait here for a few seconds to make this reset. That will hopefully do it. We go up here, pull out this part, and we go up here. You can fuck off. What the hell am I missing? Anyway, I'm gonna figure that out in the next episode. I'm gonna end this one right here, but I wanna thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.